Hello, this is Jason with Upsolver. This video is going to serve as a quick introduction on how you can ingest MongoDB data to a Snowflake data warehouse. We'll start the demonstration in the MongoDB to Snowflake ingestion wizard. Step 1 in the wizard is to select the MongoDB connection we want to ingest data from. In this example, I'll use a connection I've already defined. If you need to create your own connection, you can fill out the simple connection details, test, and then continue. Step 2 of the wizard has us selecting the databases and collections that we want to ingest into our data warehouse. Notice the automatically replicate options to dynamically add new databases and new collections to our ingestion job. In this example, I'll simply select the 2 collections in the demo database, but notice with the automatic option, if a new collection is added, I won't have to modify the pipeline to include it. On the next screen in the wizard, we can select our Snowflake connection. Again, I'm going to use a connection that I already have, but creating your own connection is very simple and straightforward. And I'll simply select which Snowflake schema and which table name prefix I want to use when building out our Snowflake tables. Just to stay organized, I'm going to create my tables with a Mongo prefix. The last form in the wizard has us setting up our data ingestion job, specifically how often we want data to be ingested into our Snowflake target. In our example, we use the default of once per minute. We will select how we want deletes handled. We can either perform hard deletes and delete rows in Snowflake when their documents are deleted in MongoDB, or we can choose soft deletes and leave those rows in Snowflake, but simply mark them as deleted. Lastly, we can define a timestamp column to be added to each row that's ingested into Snowflake. The timestamp column can be very helpful, especially when performing incremental transformations on our Snowflake tables. After we step through the wizard, we can view our configuration code. This code is straightforward and can be used outside of Upsolver, either through our Python SDK or CLI. Many customers also choose to check this code into their version control systems or possibly even orchestrate this code through their CI/CD workflows. In my case, though, I'll simply select the Run button. We'll see that our job has now been created successfully, and there's a link right in the UI to jump into our job monitoring and see how our job is progressing. Here we can see our input job monitoring, and specifically we can see the 2 collections that we've set up for replication, both of them in the pending status. These collections will eventually turn into a snapshotting status, meaning that the snapshot has begun. Once the snapshot is complete for each collection, it will change into a streaming status, and that's our indication that changes are now being streamed from MongoDB into our Snowflake data warehouse. Here you can see our first snapshot has begun of our inspections collection. The snapshot will take anywhere from a few minutes to longer, depending on how many documents are in the collection itself. And then once the snapshot is complete, we'll see the status change to streaming. We now see that both of our collections are in the streaming status, so we know that changes are now effectively being streamed. If we go back to our jobs page, we'll actually see both parts of the data ingestion pipeline. We've just looked at the input job, which shows how changes are being streamed from MongoDB into Upsolver. The output job will show us how changes are being streamed into Snowflake. Each output job is broken into a subjob for each collection that we're writing into a Snowflake table, and each job can be monitored individually to see the status of how we are writing data to Snowflake. We'll see some interesting KPI type information that gives us a high-level understanding of data processing, along with event graphs and errors should they appear. Now that we've seen how simple it is to set up the ingestion pipeline, we can now switch over to our Snowflake console and very quickly see that we now have data being replicated from MongoDB into our orders table in our Snowflake interface. The data in Snowflake is as it was in MongoDB, and you can see if I scroll to the right of my Snowflake table, the added columns that we've set up during ingestion. The event timestamp, the primary key that Upsolver is using for ingestion, and whether or not the document has been deleted in the the MongoDB database. I hope you found this use case interesting, and if you'd like to try it out for yourself, check out Upsolver.